Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I do come from a different world. I come from a technology world, and so as David mentioned. And my name is Genady. I'm co-founder of the company called LillyPad.ai, and I am going to present both the philosophy behind the company and also a demonstration of the product. So as any live demonstration, I hope demo gods will not do any difficult, and they will not create any difficulties for us, but things can go wrong. So I hope you will be patient if that happens. And yeah, so I'll start with a couple of slides and then I will switch. So please let me know if you see my slides changing.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Sorry. Yeah. So our mission is twofold. We are focusing on empowering individual language learners through unlimited, relevant, and personalized AI-driven practice. At the same time, we want to provide teachers with user-friendly tools that will allow them to create meaningful and relevant outside of classroom activities that will engage their students and will support them. So before I'm going to show the product, I want to discuss some philosophy behind what we have built. And I want to start by talking about reading aloud. And it's important for language learning. And I'm sure many of you will agree with the statements that I'm presenting here, but nevertheless, I just want to go through them because they're quite critical for what we believe in. So firstly, when students read aloud, they have the opportunity to improve their pronunciation and accent because they can hear what they say. At the same time, they practice the pace and the rhythm of the language when they read aloud, which helps them to enhance their fluency and also develop their own voice and their ability to express themselves. Because reading aloud is such a multiple sense activity, they see the text, they say the words, they hear them. It helps them to also develop comprehension. And of course, because it's based on reading that we all believe in, they acquire new vocabulary in context of what they read. And because they are used to hearing themselves speaking, they also feel more confident in expressing themselves out loud. And at the same time, they have the opportunity to catch and hear their mistakes and correct their pronunciation, grammar, or word usage. So building on this particular slide, all the benefits that we just discussed, they all contribute to speaking and listening skills, which are quite critical in the real world foreign language communication. And pronunciation, fluency, confidence, they all contribute to speaking, while listening is based on oral familiarization, listening for errors, and better comprehension. So based on those two slides, you can imagine that we are big believers in reading and also in reading aloud specifically, and we combined latest AI technologies with reading experience, and we creating something that is very immersive and very engaging. And you will see this in a second when I'm demonstrating the product. And I would like to talk about the teaching challenges as well for a second. And of course, I know that there are many challenges out there, but these are the ones that we believe we can help with. And we categorize them in these three main categories. So the first one is the catering to diverse needs of students that have different levels, but they end up in the same classroom. And it's quite challenging to develop resources that are personalized and also adaptive to their learning experiences. And of course, because of their diverse interests, it's hard to keep them engaged and motivated. On the other hand, when we talk about the outside of the classroom activities, beyond traditional homeworks, there are not many opportunities to provide a meaningful experience that will also reinforce the learning and deliver language retention based on what was learned in the classroom. And coupled with the fact that teachers do not have a lot of time, they cannot offer personalized support or guidance during the outside of classroom periods. And lastly, if progress tracking is not built into the out of classroom activities from the get-go, it's not trivial to understand the students' progress and provide timely feedback. And also, it's quite challenging to identify the areas of improvement. So now I would like to switch to the demo, and I see some questions. So, okay, sorry, I can see the full slides. Okay, you may need to adjust. Okay, cool. So now I'm going to switch to the demo, and we will talk about the product itself. Just 1 second, please. So I will start with the what we call student interface, and can you please just let me know that you can see a web browser which has the LillyPad at the left corner? Somebody to write on the. Yes. Okay. Perfect. Thank you. I just want to make sure that I don't speak to an empty screen. So as you can see, it looks like a library, personal electronic library. So let's load one book, and we have what we call reading modes. So, and this is where this reading meets AI. So right now, specifically, we are talking about natural language understanding, processing, speech recognition, all those technological advantages that we can use now. So let me demonstrate. I'm reading to Lily, and Lily, it's our artificial being. So not all of France was occupied by Germans. Only a small part of the north and east. But Luke's village was one of the unlucky ones. So basically, the system recognized my reading, provided immediate feedback on the fact that it did not hear me properly or did not understand me saying North and N, which is highlighted in red, and Luke's name. And what happens as soon as that happens, these words become my personal words, and any mistake I make, those words will follow me around, and I will talk about that in a second. This is to deliver a very highly personalized experience. So also, for example, I don't know what word occupied means. As soon as I touch that word and I want to see definition or translate it to Japanese and so on, that word will become my personal word as well. But this was the first reading mode when I was reading to the system. Now, the second reading mode is about reading together. And we tried to mimic experience of a parent and a child when parent reads and child repeats. And that helps, that is very useful for the beginners because it helps them to develop their fluency by following along. And you will hear it in a second.
Fighting and shelling had destroyed many houses and roads and shops.
Fighting and shelling has destroyed many houses and roads and shops.
Soldiers had moved in and taken over.
Soldiers had moved in and taken over.
Men of...
Please tell me that you could hear the artificial voice as well. So I just know that you can experience what I'm showing. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Sorry for asking that. So far I demonstrated, I was reading to Lily and reading with her. I can take turns as well. So for example,
age were taken prisoner and sent to Germany.
There they were forced to work in factories.
The old men.
And so on. So basically this 4 reading modes, the last reading mode is the what just was mentioned by Andy is extensive listening. You can just listen to the application reading to you. And this environment allows you to basically experience reading aloud in a different ways and to deliver the benefits that I mentioned on the slide deck. But on top of reading, we also wanted to make sure that there are additional tools that students can experience. So for example, they can identify real time all the nouns on this page, or they can say, generate parts of speech exercise for me based on the words that are presented on this page. Or if I read a little bit more, this light bulb highlights, and system will ask real-time question about what you read. It's a real-time reading comprehension validation. So you can test yourself, and so on. Or you can do reading comprehension through fill in the blanks, based again on what you just read. It's a real-time discovery of the things that. So, for example, but Luke's village in that case, because we were talking about the village, and so on. So basically, this experience offers you reading as a foundation, and when you make mistakes, you touch any word, and you basically learning about any word, it will become part of your personal pool of words that will follow you around, and I will demonstrate it in a second. And of course, these comprehension tools and parts of speech tools built on top of it. Students can update voice, they can choose female, male, they can adjust different accents and pace and pitch, and look and feel and so on. So now, if I go to my library, what is important to mention, and this is what mentioned by Andy, I think in the beginning, is just he believed when he was 20 years ago, when he started extensive reading, that it's important to read anything that students are interested in for pleasure, not necessarily being tested and so on. So we wanted to make sure that the system is completely open. So for example, I just demonstrated that we have some material loaded here, whether it's graded reader books, or it's just public domain books, or famous speeches and so on. But at the same time, I just I looked at this this second ago, this article real time from one of the Japanese newspapers. So let's say if I'm a student that is interested in sumo, I can just copy the URL and I can add my content real time. And what happens is that now I can, as mentioned by Andy before, you can read what you love or read what you're interested in while using all the tools that we just demonstrated, that I just demonstrated. And this creates quite a powerful experience. So it just brought this article real time, and I can just start utilizing this. Makes come back to clinch, because I couldn't pronounce this, and so on. So basically, I can listen to it. I can take turns with this,
The Asahi Shimbun Asia and Japan.
and so on. So basically, in addition to adding any articles, I can add documents. So for example, we have students who indicated that they were afraid to present, to do a presentation. So they created a Word document with all the words that they had, sorry, with the text that they were planning to present, and they basically uploaded the document and used it with Lilly. In addition to that, as I mentioned, during reading, we make mistakes. And when mistakes are made, they are collected. And when those words that are collected, then I can test them. And I can test them using what we call learning modules. And we have, I'm not going to go through all of them because there's too much functionality here, but I'll give you a gist of it. So for example, here, I'll talk about spell and pronounce. So it's a combination of spelling and pronounce exercise, which is based on what is called dialogue management, natural language processing, and so on.
Happy to see you again, Bart. Let's start. Your first word out of 10 is brain. The brain is a complex organ that controls many of the body's functions. Please spell brain. Marvelous. Please repeat. The brain is a complex organ that controls many of the body's functions.
The brain is a complex organ that controls many of the body's functions.
Good effort. Let's try again.
And so on. So, but basically, if I make mistake in spelling or pronounce it, it will work with me, and it's not rigid. So you can talk about, you can express yourself in different ways when it asks you, and so on. So, but words that I presented here are the words that I made mistakes when I was reading or I looked up the dictionary definition. So what happens is that it creates a personalized vocabulary that is unique to me, because if I am interested in politics or sumo and somebody else is interested in financial industry, we should not we don't need to learn the same content. Instead, each one of us will read what they care about, and then we will kill two birds with one stone, basically, by doing that, learning the language while enjoying the text. And the mistakes will be my personal mistakes that will follow me around. And those modules are basically based sorry, they are testing different functional capabilities. So for example, whether it's spelling pronunciation, vocabulary, and so on. And we have phrasal ability to learn phrases, etc. I'm going to switch to another interface, which is the teacher's interface. Do you see a browser that says manage content right now? Anyone, please? Okay, thank you. So this is what I showed you was a glimpse into our students' interface, and students can work independently or they can be guided by teacher. And this is the teacher's interface. So for example, here I can manage my students. So for example, Bart was one of those students. I can look into their performance. I can see exactly how many things they read, what their progress is from the accuracy perspective, reading speed perspective. I can see what they read and what mistakes they make with which words, etc., etc. And I also can manage the content. So for example, I can, as a teacher, I can say, okay, I want my students to read certain things, whether it's books, whether it's documents. So for example, what I did just before the demonstration, before this presentation, I went to this British Council website and I just downloaded this World Environmental Day article, and I basically uploaded as a document here. And what it allows me, later on, I can use this library, my personal library that I created, or a library that I shared with my colleagues as well, in order to assign it to my students. So for example, if I go and I will find this, where was it? This World Environmental Day article, I can basically assign it to Bart. And when that happens, I can go back to the Bart's library, and you will see that this article is here. And now Bart can just basically read this. And so the interaction between the teacher and the student's interface allows us to create either a guided experience. So for example, for the out of classroom homework or supporting activities, the teacher can basically tell them, read this or that. Or if we want to go a step further, we can also assign tasks. So for example, we can assign students tasks related to spelling, pronunciation, vocabulary. We can assign them based on what our artificial being, Lily, her name is Lily, as I mentioned, will choose which words individually for each user, or teachers can upload their own words and can basically say, okay, I want this and this word to be tested. And then I would say, okay, I just want them to test spelling and pronunciation, and then assign it to the same Bart, for example. And then when that happens, if I go back here, as a student, I will see a new assignment for me, which is pronunciation and spelling. And when I go there, it will take me to this learning module with this particular two words, etc. So basically, what it allows us to provide teachers a tool that gives them an opportunity to control or direct the baseline activities of the students, but at the same time, the system is open in a such way that it allows students to, for the ones who keeners, to import material that will of their interest and will basically allow them to progress endlessly. Again, I'm not going because there is so much functionality. I don't want to use the entire time for that, but I hope I gave you the glimpse of what it can do. And I'm going back to the presentation. And I think there's a question there. Sorry, there is something wrong with my device. I can't hear the discussion. I can barely, I don't know. Did anyone hear me well or? Okay, so it's probably something specific to these two people. Okay, so let's ignore that. Okay, so then let me go back to the slides. Sorry. So what I was hoping to achieve with this demonstration is just to show that the challenges that were presented in the last slide related to teaching can be alleviated through utilizing our technology, because we provide, as I mentioned, a customized learning journey. Because students can use material that is provided by the teacher or preloaded, or they can upload their own content that they're interested in. It becomes very hyper-personalized, because the more you read, the more mistakes you make, the more words you are going to have difficulties with. These words will start follow you around. Each individual word has its own life cycle based on spaced repetition algorithms and so on, and this helps students to improve. And because of the openness of this platform, it creates an engaging and motivating experience. Also, because the everything students do in the platform is tracked, there is a very clear visibility to their activities, the areas of the difficulties they experience, and it helps them to it helps teachers to get a better understanding of students' progress, and also how they spend their time in the system. And of course, from a out of classroom practice perspective, it creates a private, no embarrassment environment, because like I am English as a second language. I remember time when I felt very embarrassed talking, because I didn't like the way I was hearing myself, and I didn't want to do it. And so it's basically takes time, and because you can do it, we utilize in very interesting content, and you get used to listening to yourself, and in the privacy of your home, or it's very powerful. And at the same time, it develops the skills related to speaking, listen, reading comprehension, as we discussed, vocabulary, pronunciation, spelling. And one of the problems that usually people have who learn the English, right? It's not always a native speaker is available. And here, there is a pseudo-native speaker is available 24/7 to you to practice with. And the last thing I just want to mention, that it's both this teacher-driven and self-directed activities, but they can reinforce whatever content is presented in the classroom. And just to show you some statistics, here's a student that we're quite proud of, and this statistics is 2 months old. But this particular student, he's from Mexico, so he read more than 400,000 words without platform. He mispronounced 60,000. He spends almost an hour every other day with us. He practiced 1,000 words, and so it became an addiction to him. And there is another person there that is from US that she's also spends on every 32 minutes a day, read 130,000 words and so on. And we get quite a good feedback from our users. So the reason I'm showing this slide is just to basically, first of all, to demonstrate that there is a power of reading. There are people out there that enjoy reading. There are people out there that enjoy reading aloud together with an artificial being, and they spend quite a lot of time doing that. And we receive very good feedback, and like people say, oh, it's a wonderful approach towards learning, and so etc. I would stop here to provide an opportunity for questions. So I don't know if there are any questions. Yes, please go ahead.
Thank you very much.
You have said that what I can see on the screen now is you can see a text and you've got a pop-up. I can't quite read it on my screen. Does that say definition somewhere there?
Yeah, this one, it says comprehension. It's yes, but this is basically, it's a definition. Yes. It's,
okay, and the definition comes from, is that Google definition?
Okay, it's actually this particular one. No, it's not a Google definition. Yeah. Do you want to see it? Yeah, I can show you real time.
Please, I'd love to see.
Yeah. No, I'll be happy. I just didn't want to. Okay, let's do this one. I don't know. And I don't speak Japanese, so someone will have to correct me if it's wrong. So if it's correct, so. Sorry, this is the definition. It's not a translation. So this is how the definitions come with. Are there specific words you're looking at, or you?
No, that's fine. So can I save that to my private learning environment?
Each word that you tested, sorry, each word that you touched becomes.
Can you save it to your personal environment? So, oh, I want to learn that one.
There's no active action of saving it, adding it, but it will come to you because it became part of the algorithm. It's because you touch in so many words.
Gotcha.
They just compile, and then there is a spaced repetition that is going to basically say, okay, it's like a flashcard, basically. It will say, okay,
automatically saving.
Yeah, it automatically saves it and automatically tests you afterwards. And after a certain time, if the system feels that you learned it, it will just will start asking you very rarely about that word, and will promote other words. Because otherwise, if you read a lot, it will be very hard to save every word and so on. Instead, it's automatically taken care of it.
I see. Okay, so the elephant in the room here, of course, is what do you do about words with multiple meaning senses and also multi-part words?
Yeah, of course, there is no magic here. It's just there will be, when we do the vocabulary, so for example, testing, there will be, based on the context, what you read and what the demonstration, the sentence that the word was read in, like in which form, and that will be used in order to present it as a verb or as a noun and so on, and it will be just one definition. And of course, it's not great, but otherwise a person will just die if somebody wants to learn a word like work, for example, there will be 500 definitions of it.
Yes.
Yeah. Did I answer your question?
You did. That's fine. I have some more, but let me leave space for other people.
Yeah, sure. No, I'll be happy to answer. Does LillyPad have easy text like to elementary? Yes. It's we have we have texts that correspond to A1 learners. And did I answer the question, Janina? There was a picture. Sorry, there was what? The screenshot. Yes. Okay. Any other questions? I don't see any questions. Sorry, am I missing anything?
Just me again, if it's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you write your own texts? Do you commission them, or do you take them from a site?
Yeah, so it's a combination of things. We try to get as much as we can from public domain, because the variety.
You took one from the BBC before. That was considered educational use.
Yeah, it was just open or just article from the internet. That was just manual activity, but we also can preload things that, let's say, from Gutenberg library, which is public domain, or from other sources like speeches, famous speeches that are not or for example, if you're interested, I can show you something else. Do you see my screen
yes,
in my library? So for example,
I can see the library, but I can see the LillyPad. Bart's library is what I see. Yes, Bart's library, yes.
Okay, so do you see at the bottom right here, we
Yes.
have blogs. So if students can subscribe for blogs,
I see.
and like for example, here's TechCrunch. I don't know if you're familiar. It's a famous
Yes.
blog. So and what happens is that, like, let's say if I'm a student who is interested in technology and I want to develop my vocabulary in the that space, it's TechCrunch is a good place to read. So I can just click on this latest post, and as soon as I click on it, it automatically imports it into my personal library, and I can just start using it. Okay. And all the things like real-time reading comprehension, I can show you in a second. I did not read this, of course, but yeah, I can show you in a second.
So this actually comes from the TechCrunch blog?
Yeah, which is public domain, of course. Everyone can read it and so on, right?
Sure.
Yes, and so here's the real question that somebody just, we ask in real-time reading comprehension question about this newly imported text and so on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any other?
Are you planning to develop this in other languages? You have Japanese there, of course.
Japanese is just for translation, not to teach Japanese, just to...
No, I meant that. Yeah. So are you going to have it translated to parts of Asia?
No, it's already hundreds of languages. It's not a problem. Yeah, it's not a problem at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've only just set up for us for Japanese.
Yeah, just for the, I can real time change it to whatever other language you want, and I'll just demonstrate it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you use this yourself? Yes. Yes, I do a lot, many hours, but yes. But our students that use it extensively, they actually they talk about benefits. Yeah. The link to go to, sorry, the question is the link to go to the platform, please. Yes, so the link is it's basically, so this is the link. So I will provide the link to everyone in the meeting if anyone is interested. How do you gamify it? Okay, so there was a question by gamification about the gamification. Yes, so there are a couple of things here. So let me just close because I have too many things open here. So so at the bottom, for example, and we'll start with like for example, here it shows you the performance statistics. So if you are interested in your performance, you can see it. If you want to real gamification, then we have something that we call Lily's Wings. And because Lily is our butterfly, and I can explain the reason behind that. But basically, we create a leaderboard and we collect points and coins. So as a student, for example, if I go here, and I'll show you the coins, I'm collecting coins. And those coins then help me to basically to achieve something in the platform and so on. And did I answer the question about gamification? Is it free? No, it is not free, unfortunately, because yes, it takes a lot of effort to develop this. It takes a lot of effort to collaborate with people who provide content, and so we have to get paid, and we have to pay other people as well. So yeah, it's not free, but it's not crazy expensive. You can go and see how the pricing model is all up on the website. And just to show you the, I think it's important to convey a couple of things here. Just when you visit the website, sorry, let me just log out. We have two characters, it's Todd and Lily, it's butterfly and frog. I hope you can see it. And the idea behind the brand is just, we believe both of them represent transformation. And we truly believe that English skills are transformative in people's lives and careers. I'm a testament to it, I'm a big believer in it. So this is why we have these two characters that might seem a little bit childish, but we actually, there is a reason behind them, because we want to convey a transformative, like it's all about transformation and helping people to succeed in their life or career prospects. So that is the rationale behind it.